Yeah, today marks Kamala Harris's first big decision, which she would carry 4 years into the presidency, and it went really well. The decision looks good on substance, and the speech was a home run. There are times where you just need a whiskey. We've all had those times covering these news cycles. But there are other times where you... But there are other times...
Go Art. Go ahead.
Long pause. Sneaking a drink. But there are other times where the best thing for you is some Gatorade and a good long run. And I think the party has had these debates and these moments and these freakouts and then the stabilizing. But Harris is leading to now handing off as a running mate, someone who we just saw gave that speech. This is America's dad, America's football coach, America's...
She called him Coach Walls.
Yeah, Coach, America's teacher. Yeah. And the teacher that's cool enough without trying to be cool. But then when people are, and I was reading about this today and it came up on the stage, when people are singling out other classmates because of their identity or who they are, this is the person who comes in and leads. That's actually really cool in a deeper way. And you get this impression from him. There'll be time to assess all this and have debates and have, you know, the investigative journalism. But this is someone who accorded himself tremendously well. And that Gatorade and that run and that kind of healthy, uplifting vibe, boy, does the party need it. But also, as they made the argument, so does America need it. And then his record, liberal without being strident, strong without being overly bombastic. Kind in the traditional sense of the word. And this is, I don't really do dog whistles, so I swear this is not a dog whistle. But you got a reminder of why this isn't just a purely coastal, big state, blue state ticket. Yes, he's from a blue state, but we already talked about the district he's from and the way he represents, which had a heartland thing going on. And heartland isn't necessarily left or right, doesn't need to be. So you were reminded why, again, Kamala Harris's first big decision, she's saying to the nation, whatever you heard about me, I know how to get things done. I know how to lead. I'm bringing on someone from another part of the country, from another set of backgrounds. That doesn't mean compromising on your core beliefs either.
Yeah. I also think that you learn politics in the rooms you're in. When comedians talk about the room, right? Like, you're given jokes and the people are in that room and you do it over and over and you find out what hits and what doesn't. We've seen Donald Trump do that with his crowd. Like that is a collaboration between Donald Trump and the MAGA faithful.
That's how he learns what his policies are.
That's how he learns what they are. And this is a guy whose room has been working as a teacher in a rural school district, and then in a conservative rural congressional district, and then in the state of Minnesota at a statewide level. And again, a state that is a blue state, but can be a battleground state. Donald Trump came very close to yoinking it away in 2016. And I just feel like what you get from him, and I think Josh Shapiro does as well, and I think the foundational text of this approach is Barack Obama's 2004 convention speech, is just like patriotic pluralism. Like a vision of an inclusive society, of the American civic creed, where we stand up to bullies and we look out for people and we're all bound together and we mind our own damn business. And that's a way of talking about a certain set of what to me are genuine liberal and progressive policies in an open-hearted and inviting way that is not wrapped up in, hard to understand jargon. Yeah. And I think he just does it real damn well. Yeah. And they saw that on display.
Nicole?
So in 2008, working for the McCain campaign, you watch the Obama campaign, and there's just something cellular about momentum and winningness. Yes. And they have this cellular winningness going on. And you brought up the whiskey, and I think that we were all together 5.5 weeks ago covering the debate. And there was a moment, you were the first to come on the air and talk about what we actually saw, and we were unflinching, and it was brutal. I think we should be as unsparing with what we're seeing here. It is the vibe of winning. It is momentum, pure and simple. Vice President Kamala Harris isn't flawless. I don't think she would say she's flawless. She is running a flawless campaign. Yeah. She has not made one single mistake. And I think Democrats like to say, but she will. She might not.
It's a sprint now.
Republicans have nominated Trump 3 times. I mean, she is running a flawless campaign. And this choice, even 8 hours ago, I think wasn't as obvious as it is now. He made a couch joke, for Pete's sake. Yeah. I mean, yes to all the cultural sort of universality of his appeal, but he also is unafraid. They are unapologetic in their sort of policies and morals and the things that they fight for, but they're totally approachable. You get the feeling that he's got plenty of neighbors that wear MAGA hats, and he picks up their paper and brings it to their front door, and they're his friends.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a thirst and a hunger for that. And I think that she, had another. Your winning also is about stringing together one good news cycle after one good news cycle after one good news cycle, and she has done that every single day, including today.
Absolutely. The line that I wrote down from Mr. Governor Coach Walz, I guess we're going to have to now call him. Thank you for bringing back the joy.
Yeah, that was his opening line.
Right? And I think that's part of what it is. I've gotten so many text messages from people who have been locked in this just cycle of terror and fear about what's to come, right? This fear of fascism that's legitimate, because Donald Trump really does want to bring back fascism.
Well, you said you wouldn't talk about our private discussions on TV.
Did you pass the whiskey? Maybe they were for myself. Maybe I was like,
That is private, Joy. Jesus. I'm sorry.
I can't with you. I can't
I'm
with you
sorry.
after that. But I mean, the reality is, I think a lot of people have forgotten how fun campaigns can be. I mean, I actually enjoyed working on campaigns back in the day because there was something about it that was sort of the civic mindedness of it, the kind of camaraderie of it. And there's a certain aspect of it that's fun, even though the stakes are big. And I think that with Donald Trump, he's got this kind of stale act that isn't new. It isn't fresh. He's doing the same shtick that he did in 2016 and 2020. And it's a bit boring, but it's wrapped up in the things he wants to do to us. They want to drag us back to the 1950s. They want women to all get married and have babies, and they want to have 10-year-olds have kids. He wants 10-year-olds to have lunch. It's just a simple Midwestern values thing that Barack Obama did in his campaign. You can say that he's this sort of exotic figure. His name is Barack Hussein Obama. Trump is, again, using his whole middle name. But you know what he is? He's like a normal guy that you would play basketball with. And so is this guy. And I think that is a powerful thing that people forget, that it works. And it worked for Joe Biden. It's one of the ways that Biden defeated Trump is he said, I'm just going to bring back normal. I'm not going to do all these wild things. I don't poo in a gold toilet like this guy. This guy's like a weird guy. He's odd. J.D. Vance is even weirder. And this is like comfortable, normal, and joyful. That is a powerful thing in campaigns.
I will say, that if you look at for Americans discovering that there's a person named Tim Walz today, which is a huge proportion.
Just to be clear.
Yes. And a huge proportion even of Democrats, right? But they are learning that this is a guy who is a straight white guy from the Midwest who talks like he's from Minnesota because he's from Minnesota. He grew up on a farm. His dad was in the Army. He did 24 years in the Army National Guard. He was a command sergeant major, which is a big freaking deal. He was a high school social studies teacher. His wife was the English teacher. He was the football coach. He ran in a conservative district, was seen as a centrist, had an A rating from the NRA, and was the champion congressional sharpshooter. And when Parkland happened, when the Parkland shooting happened, and his daughter was 17 years old, and he is a lifelong gun owner and hunter, and he's A-rated from the NRA, he decides that he needs to evolve on that issue. And he, as most gun owners do, decides that he's going to support background checks, he's going to support red flag laws and other common sense gun safety laws. And what does he do when he was running for governor that year, when all that is happening? He makes that change. And then he turns around and he donates to charity every dollar the NRA had ever donated to him over the course of his career when he was an A-rated NRA Democratic moderate from a rural red-leaning district.
And he gets an F. And
now he has an F, and he wears it as a badge of honor.
I think that's part of what the Harris campaign is sort of saying. What she's saying with this is America, and it's inviting. We talked about the Zoom calls, which can be different constituency groups, but the white guy Zoom call, it's half a joke.
That's white dudes.
White dudes, thank you. Yes, the dude abides. It's half a joke, but it's also very real in that you're bringing these people together. And so Democrats spent many years on defense on so-called conservative issues, including national security or safety. You just talked about what does gun safety look like, or wearing a darn flag pin. And I'm all for celebrating America any way you choose. But all of the right-wing flag pin theater is very different from what Harris is saying today, which is this is also America, but it has certain values. And he said you can have compromise orientation without compromising your values. And so that's a different sort of invitation. And it's different than it being right-wing performative. And now you have the so-called MAGA folks on defense about, well, what's the real America they represent?
They're debating who's weirder. Like, if you're debating whether you're weirder or they're weirder, like, you're already losing. He is what J.D. Vance pretends to be. And that's the problem.
The other thing is, I think because the country is not particularly divided on abortion, 76% of Americans thought Roe was properly decided, not divided on gun safety. 85% wants gun safety legislation, including majority gun owners. What all the Republicans have had for the last 10 years is cultural division. He erases it all in 40-minute speech. Go on.
I just think this, watching the Democratic Party work through itself in the last 3 weeks or so, and it's just, again, I keep coming back to this notion of pluralism because it's like a weird dated word that no one uses anymore, but I think it's really beautiful and kind of the central core of this whole thing, which is when you talk about there's different constituencies, there's different, like, democracy is about, like, attaching across all these lines of difference. We're trying to build a multiracial democracy. We've really only been one since the Voting Rights Act. It's super hard to do. They fall apart left and right. And here you've got this moment on stage with, like, she's got these parents who are both immigrants from different traditions. She grows up in Oakland. He's from this totally different part of America and this totally different upbringing. And there they are on stage, like, stitching together this coalition that is the pro-democracy coalition, which is embodied in the Democratic Party, which got all different kinds of lines of difference. It's got to hold together with people that disagree and are coming from different places.
And you know what the
and
word
it
for
felt
that is,
like
though, Chris?
that was it today. Like, there, you see it. Like, this is what it looks like.
The word for that is diversity.
Yeah,
and
exactly
the Republicans are
what it
running
is.
from it, but that's all
That's
it
what it
means.
is.
It just means that everyone's at the table.
We are different types of people who come from different places who share the values that we all ought to have an equal say, and we all ought to try to do the best for our families.